Hi there, it's your favorite YouTube producer here, and today we're diving into one of the most iconic adventure movies of all time, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, I know what you're thinking, but since speak, this movie is over 40 years old. Is it even still relevant? To that, I say, absolutely. Not only is this movie a classic that has stood the test of time, but it's also just plain fun to watch. So grab your fedora and whip, because we're about to go on an adventure. First things first, let's talk about the man himself, Indiana Jones. Played by Harrison Ford, Indy is the quintessential adventurer. He's brave, he's smart, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. Plus, that fedora, iconic. But let's be real, the real star of the show here is that whip. Seriously, how many of us have tried to recreate that iconic whip crack sound effect in our own lives? Just me. Okay, moving on. The plot of Raiders of the Lost Ark is pretty straightforward. Indy is on a quest to find the Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis can get their hands on it. Along the way, he teams up with the feisty Marion Ravenwood, played by Karen Allen, and faces off against a variety of villains, including the infamous Toad, who is definitely not someone you'd want to run into in a dark alley. But let's be real, the plot isn't really the most important part of this movie. Sure, it's fun to watch Indy outsmart the bad guys and uncover ancient artifacts, but the real joy of this movie is in the action sequences. And boy, are there some doozies in this one. One of my personal favorites is the scene where Indy is being chased through the marketplace by a group of armed thugs. The way he weaves in and out of the stalls, knocking over baskets of fruit and dodging swords left and right, is just pure entertainment. Plus, the moment when he pulls out his gun and shoots the guy with the sword, classic. And of course, we can't forget about the scene where Indy faces off against a giant bald dude who looks like he's made out of solid muscle. This guy is so intimidating that even Indy seems a little nervous at first, but of course, he manages to take him down in the end. And the way that giant propeller comes into play, brilliant. But perhaps the most iconic scene in the entire movie is the one where Indy is trying to steal the Ark from the Well of Souls. You know the one I'm talking about. Snakes? So many snakes. As someone who is decidedly not a fan of those slithery creatures, this scene always gives me the heebie-jeebies. But you have to hand it to Indy. He really knows how to improvise. Who else would think to use a torch and a statue to fend off a swarm of angry reptiles? Overall, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is a must-see for anyone who loves action, adventure, and a healthy dose of humor. Sure, some of the special effects might seem a little dated by today's standards, but that only adds to the charm of the movie. Plus, if you're looking for a fun drinking game, take a shot every time someone says Indy or Nazis. So there you have it, folks, my review of one of the most iconic adventure movies of all time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go practice my whip cracking skills.